Hello and thanks for joining us for a roundup of the week's arts and entertainment news. And we're starting with what's become the most talked about video game of the year. The 14th Assassin's Creed instalment from French video game giant Ubisoft has been called beautiful, elegant and the best in the series. But the debate surrounding the inclusion of specific characters, historical accuracies and wokeism is dominating the game's release. Charlie James introduces us to Assassin's Creed Shadows, set in feudal Japan.
It's year 1581 in Japan, a time of intense civil war. And you have to navigate the chaos.
We are the shadows
that serve the light.
This is Assassin's Creed Shadows, the latest chapter in the beloved series from mega studio Ubisoft. Assassin's Creed blends fictional gameplay with real events and characters, and Shadows has the same epic vistas, bloody combat, and historical storytelling that its millions of fans adore.
I've been waiting for it for so long. For years, Assassin's Creed gamers have been asking for it to be set in Japan. So there was big talk when it was announced because it's the perfect setting.
I think it's important that the game is historically accurate so it doesn't misrepresent Japan, and so people don't complain because we are diving into a specific culture.
Players can embody two characters, a young female ninja named Naue, or a black samurai, Yasuke, a former African slave who served a warlord before allying himself with Naue. This character has been the target of fierce debate online. While Yasuke was in fact a real person, there is no clear evidence he was a samurai, and his inclusion in the game has been attacked in some online forums as wokeism.
It's not the first time we've been able to play two characters in Assassin's Creed, but the choice of these characters has been controversial. I want to see how these characters work together and bond with each other, and I'd really like to see Yasuke's history explained in the game. Explaining the story of Yasuke before he arrived in Japan, and perhaps his adaptation to his Japanese surroundings, would make it more authentic.
If the reviews are right, Assassin's Creed Shadows is set to be a huge hit for Ubisoft, and the studio needs one to save it from a string of flops and years of financial struggles. After two release date delays for technical fixes, fans are more than ready to grab their controllers and dive into the shadows.
Next then, works by an 18th century French master that was saved from wildfires in Los Angeles are on show in a chateau just outside of Paris. The pieces by Antoine Watteau were stashed in their Franco-American owner's basement in California when the blaze reached his house. Jennifer Ben-Brahim has more.
The fortune teller is more than just a famous painting. It's a survivor, reunited with its owner, who is overcome with emotion.
Our collections are like our children. We worry about our pieces.
5 paintings and about 15 drawings by French painter Antoine Watteau were stored in Lionel Sauvage's villa in Los Angeles as the wildfires devastated the city in January.
When the fire started, we had some time before the fire approached the house. It took about an hour and a half, so we took the collection down to a concrete cellar, which protected the works. So we started by taking the paintings down.
Many art collectors lost their works, but Sauvage got lucky.
We came back the next day, and the house was still standing, the paintings were here, so we wrapped everything up and took it to this storage place in downtown Los Angeles.
The works are finding a new temporary home in France's Château de Chantilly. Some of them have rarely, if ever, been shown to the public.
Antoine Watteau is one of the great masters of 18th century French art who made a mark on the world and changed the course of art history. He is one of the most sought-after artists and displayed in many museums.
It makes you realize that as a collector, you don't actually own your work. You're there to preserve them for future generations.
The painting suffered no damage and will be reunited with other Antoine Watteau pieces for 3 months as part of a retrospective.
Artists of African descent are being celebrated in a groundbreaking exhibition at Paris's Pompidou Centre. The show, called Paris Noir, honours 150 black creatives from the 1950s to 2000 who came to Paris on a quest for artistic freedom. Many of the works created from the artists from Africa, the Americas and the Caribbean have never been displayed in France. The curators explain how the show retraces their important presence and influence in France during the second half of the 20th century.
Paris Noir is a very ambitious group show showcasing 150 artists across the Caribbean, Africa, and the US. And it really follows this incredible epic of decolonization in Paris and shows and unpacks Paris as a lab for Pan-Africanism, an anti-colonial workshop also. So you will see 50 years of that decolonizing story in Paris, and you will see all these artists and how they contributed at rewriting the history of modernism and postmodernism, how these artists reframed abstraction, surrealism, and at the same time you will see all the Black solidarities that happened at the time and how these artists really created a Pan-African art history across Black worlds, across the Black Atlantic, from Africa to the Americas.
It's more something about a Black consciousness, a shared experience that is embodied in the exhibition by the circle in the middle of the exhibition. And here, what you can feel is what is this Black consciousness. And it's a shared experience based on the experience of slavery and based on the experience of racism that is shared by most of the artists of the exhibition.
The Paris Noir exhibition, also called Black Paris, is on until the end of June, and it's one of the Pompidou Centre's final shows before it closes for a 5-year renovation. Well, most Parisians will already have seen his sculpture at the Palais Royal metro station in the heart of the French capital. But now the artist behind this work, Jean-Michel Othoniel, has opened the doors of his studio to the public. His workshop in the Parisian suburb of Montreuil allows art enthusiasts to discover some of the artist's most colourful sculptures. Andrew Hillier has more.
His trademark style is familiar to anyone who's taken the Parisian metro. A step through the doors of Jean-Michel Othoniel's workshop in a suburb of Paris, and visitors are transported to a world where works of glass, metal and embroidery dazzle the naked eye.
The work with the beads was ultimately born out of an obsession with the body. That is, to create an exalted, magnified body, almost a fairy tale body.
The sculptor's most recognized work, the Night Owl's kiosk, adorns the metro station Palais Royal, Musée du Louvre. It made him a household name.
It's something that came into my life by chance because it was a competition. I was chosen and it was my first work in a public space. It's there as a kind of souvenir of the year 2000. And I like it a lot because it brings the marvelous back into the city. And I'm a big believer in that today, this idea of beauty as an almost political act of bringing back hope.
At times, Jean-Michel Othoniel's search for inspiration has led him far from France. With The Wave, the sculptor tried to capture the essence of the 2011 Japanese tsunami that caused so much devastation.
I started drawing waves when I was in Japan at the time of the tsunami, and I wanted to capture the disaster in some way. And then a few years later, I wanted to make a sculpture out of the drawings, and I embarked on this adventure, which took me exactly 2 years, because I had to work with engineers and then go to India and work with glass blowers.
An adventure that won't be ending anytime soon. At the end of April, his works will go on display in Shanghai for the first time. And a month later, at the Cannes Film Festival, it'll be the turn of movie stars to immerse themselves in his dazzling world of art.
Well, that brings us to the end of the show. We'll leave you with the World Music Festival Babel Music XP. The 3-day event in the southern French city of Marseille showcases 30 acts from more than 20 countries. And performances to watch out for include Senegal's Ablé Sissoko, the psychedelic rock of Bab El Blues, and the electric punk of Kinshasa's Kingongolo Kenyatta. Thanks for watching. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
Choco